Hello and welcome. Today we are opening up an entire box of Stormlight Lost Tales from the story deck. Those well invested in the Cosmere may be interested to see just what's inside a full box of Lost Tales. This currently retails for $100. It's available on Dragonsteel's store, and it consists of 36 packs of story deck. Now, I went to Nexus. I got Story Deck when it first came out as a part of the conference. I have pretty much the entire, well, I have all the stories. I have all 3 stories collected. Don't pay attention to how the artwork is lined up. I didn't do a very good job, and I just noticed it as I went to go and record this series of videos. But I have most of the stories collected. I have some holo versions. And really what I'm looking forward to collecting today, hopefully, is going to be the Herald cards. I have, somewhere in here, only about 4 of the 9 Herald cards that were available from this original set. They were super hard to get at Nexus. Everybody was trading for them. I'm hoping to open up the packs here today and see what we got. Here we are. Ooh, stuck together a little. Yeah, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 of the 9 Herald cards that came out. So hopefully we'll be able to open up some packs and see what we get. Let's begin. We're going to go completely raw here and just open up all 36 of these packs. Over here, I'm going to make kind of a pile for each of the stories, and then the nonsense cards that I get, I'm going to keep separate, but we'll kind of go through and see what we get. If you watched my video earlier and some of the articles that I wrote when Story Deck sort of first came out, you'll know what Story Deck is, but just as a quick primer, it's a series of collectible trading cards. 3 stories. You can tell which story is which by the borders. This is the Lopen story. We have the Chasm Friends story. And then we have the Yasna story. And each story has 52 cards. You put them all together, you get a full story. There are foil versions. There are special nonsense cards, which you can see this stamp here says 100% nonsense. This is 7 out of 54, so it'd be card number 7 out of the 54 in the story. Something in this text is different than the actual story card. And so you get to see what those different stories are, those little variations. It's kind of a collecting thing. It's fun. But as we go, you're going to kind of get a sense here of what the distribution is for each pack. Keep in mind that sort of your mileage is going to vary. Not every pack is the same. Not every box is the same. It's very random. The Herald cards are by far the rarest. The rarest at Dragonsteel was those later Herald cards, and it'll be interesting to see if that holds true here. There was all sorts of like theories and rumors about like, oh, the later Herald cards, like they were down at the bottom of production. And so, you know, those are only coming out during the last days. And then I just heard that it's just a luck thing. You know, it's all over the place. The real like crazy rumor mill was just about the nonsense cards. There are multiple versions of the nonsense cards for single cards. Not every card has a nonsense version, but there were lots of different varieties. So like I saw people who were collecting nonsense cards, and you know, they would have one version. I'd check it against the one that I had, and it would be different. It would be like one word off. I have no idea how many nonsense cards there are in total, but what'll be, I think, most interesting for the purposes of opening up these packs is figuring out what the sort of progression you get as an individual collector to a full story. people who weren't at Dragonsteel and didn't have the opportunity. Oh, I got two nonsense cards there. You aren't going to get the opportunity to trade around with people who might have duplicates. I'm going to do kind of like, I guess, an analysis of this to see, how many unique cards I got, what was the sort of, how many cards am I missing, what's the distribution. It has, sorry, weird focus. It has the odds on here. Each booster contains 15 cards total, 13 regular story cards, a foil story, and a story card that's either an alternate version, a foil version, or a herald. That's sort of the extra part that they don't really mention. No heralds yet, and we're 3 packs in. That's not a huge surprise. I think I only pulled like one or two heralds on my own, maybe more. I got duplicates of heralds. I should say 1 or 2 unique heralds, and then I traded away the rest of the dupes. It's also like, I don't know how much this is a thing, but the earlier numbers in the series seem to be more common, and the later numbers were harder to find. My last day of like collecting cards, I spent a lot of time trading around with folks for those later cards. The Dragonsteel community was awesome during all of this. I had a ton of people who were just, by the end, giving away their duplicate cards. I did the same. I couldn't give away all of my duplicate cards. People at that point had already gotten pretty far in their collections, but like hundreds of people, literally hundreds of people, hanging around trading the cards. It was a really cool experience. We are just gonna keep trucking along. If I sound winded, I'm straddling like a sort of tripod, I guess, to get this angle appropriate for the shot. So I am a little out of shape, but it's more that I'm at like a super weird angle here. So more cards. It seems like the rare card, which is usually the last in the bin, has been for this set mostly late number cards. Like one of them that I pulled was a The End card, which is card number 52. It's the last in the series, last for that story. So anecdotal at this point, and I'm kind of like not really paying attention. Okay, I can tell you right now, because of the artwork, that is a herald. I'm very excited. I did get a hollow herald that I traded, I think, for 2 common heralds and maybe some story cards, or maybe, I forget what it was exactly. I kind of, like, once I realized it was going to be really difficult to complete a full collection, I sort of gave up on collecting, like holding on to my rares, as it were, just because, there we are. It's Herald number 4, I have that one, but we'll leave that one aside. If you're in the New England area and you want to trade cards, or I randomly seem to pull one that you're missing, hit me up on investinthecosmere.com. I'm on Blue Sky. Maybe we can meet up. Maybe we can do some snail mail postage. You can complete some of your collection. I don't know if that's a herald or not, but let's keep it rolling. Again, like averages here, looking at these, I'm seeing a ton of the Yasna story, more than I get others. So here are 2 just regular foil stories. I'm not going to spoil. Oh, that wasn't a herald. But again, it's the last card again. So I'll put it with a little more confidence this time. That last card is either a late card or a herald, or I think a foil nonsense. But you'll be able to see the difference as you go. could be a long video. Might break this video up. Definitely a herald. Okay. I'm going to run out of stuff to talk about. Oh, God, duplicate heralds. This was... I'm kind of curious to see what the reception of this will be to the general populace outside of Dragonsteel Nexus. It's cool. It's a lot of fun. This is a ton of packs. I'm really curious to see how close I get to actually completing stories. It feels like when I'm looking at it here, like, oh, I gotta be close. But I have no idea how many duplicates we'll see. Again, I'll run the numbers after and kind of get a sense for what the distribution is. It's not guaranteed, like it's all going to be different when you finally get into it, if you decide to get into it. But it should give you sort of a rough estimate on how much you might expect to have to buy before you can complete a collection. But like, reach out, find a local game store or some local fans that would be willing to pick up some packs and trade. It's not going to be possible for everybody, but that's definitely a chasm, friends. There's a chance I get a foil herald, so not guaranteed that that'll be the case. But no heralds here. I wonder if you freeze frame the video for like those brief glimpses that I give you to each card, if you'll have enough. Nice foil nonsense there. If you'll have enough to complete the story just by the freeze frame, maybe you will. Maybe I'll incidentally leak this. I don't intend to. It's not my goal here. But weirdly, like, the amount of Lopen cards I've gotten thus far is roughly equal to the Chasm friends, but there is a brick ton of the Yasna cards. It's all the same volume, like it's all 52 cards each, so, you know, it's more just the random distribution I'm getting, but we shall see. More. Be nice if I wasn't straddling this, that I could like line these things up right away, and so we could kind of see the progress as it gets filled. But that would take a ton of space to lay out a total of like, what's that, 156 cards all in a line. Maybe one day. But again, I don't want to leak the story. Go and get some story deck, build your own collection, discover the story yourself. That's the way. That's the way to do it. Man. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna probably run out of stories here. Dragonsteel Nexus was awesome. If you're on the fence on Nexus, let me tell you, it's worth it. First off, staff at Dragonsteel, super friendly, very approachable, very easy to talk to. They're all super excited. They're just as excited to be there as we are as fans. The event venue is great. Salt Lake City's a little strange. It was very empty, which I wasn't sort of prepared for. I'm from the East Coast. I grew up maybe 20 minutes outside of Boston. And so I'm kind of used to, in the scale of the United States, like medium-sized to large cities. Oops, I just opened that off screen, but Herald. Hopefully not another one that I already have. Let's see. All right. Excuse me. All right. This is what I'm talking about. you know, your mileage may vary. You could buy a box, you might get enough to complete a story, you might not. Heralds were great trading fodder at the convention, but who knows what you'll end up getting. I don't even know how many packs at this point. I got a big pile of pack paper over here. Still got a lot to go, so I'm not dismaying too much. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna keep buying these things until I have my collection set. That's feeling pretty good. That's like, it's a mural, right? So that feels like lower mural action. We're getting into it now. I have to start despairing about the collecting, and then it'll come to me. But the point of this is to build your collection, and that's what I'm here to do. I kind of regret I traded a lot of my nonsense cards because I wanted the story. I didn't want to worry. Yeah, there we go. Number 6. I don't know if I have that. Gotta check. Let me organize these and then I'll check. I was more worried about completing my collection than I was holding on to the nonsense cards. At the end of the day, I was thinking, like, if I never buy these again, because it wasn't certain when we were on the floor at Dragonsteel, if I never buy these again, I will be sad if I'm missing a piece of a story. I won't be sad if I'm missing a nonsense card where we don't even know how many nonsense cards there are. I still don't know. Granted, I haven't researched it yet, but there we go. So there is, yes, I will get I've gotten one new Herald for my set. That's exciting. I'll put that in the binder later. Not getting these graded or anything, so it can hang out for a little bit. I'm probably going to pause this video and start another one just so that my phone doesn't run out of space. Go, foil nonsense, regular nonsense, end card. Definitely feeling good about the last sort of rare card being one of the later in the series. I definitely have seen at this point now a few duplicates there. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see what that distribution finally looks like. I might not take the time to do like all of the distributions, but we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna pause this and then come right back. All right, movie magic, that'll be moments for you. For me, I took a minute. All right, keeping going. I really do feel now that like we're starting to get into it that the distribution's pretty even. I don't know that it's intentional on their part. Like I don't think they're sitting there balancing out packs or anything like that against each other. And I'm not even sure that the way in which packs are associated with a box versus the individual packs, like I don't think you're going to see any differences there. But, you know, we'll see. Another Herald. I don't think I made it abundantly clear during my explainer video. One of the really cool things about the whole series is that every 9 cards forms like a mural. I'll show off one. I definitely show it off in the B-roll. But you can really tell like which cards sort of pair up with each other once you look at them all from the back. All right, there's Herald number 1. I've already got that one, but that's okay. I'll take duplicate Heralds. I am very fortunate to have a great local basis of Cosmere fans. Ironically, at this point, at this stage, which is Tuesday, January 21st, 9 o'clock, none of them actually subscribe to Invested in the Cosmere. Very interesting. They get all the articles. They get to see this, how the sausage is made. But none of them subscribe. Interesting. But maybe they'll get some of these duplicates. Maybe they'll get very lucky and I'll have an entire set of story cards to share. But realistically, I think I'm going to find some alternate way to display this. Like I've got the binder version. I'd love to do a light box and show either all of the stories or like that one only had 2 Yasna, just in terms of counting what the like distribution per pack is. We're still very Yasna heavy with Chasm Fiend and Lopin very, very evenly mixed. But I'd love to do like a light box to really display the art and the stories. Speaking of people who do subscribe, thanks to all the people who subscribe to Invested in the Cosmere. I say subscription, it's free. It's just a newsletter. You get my articles, they get emailed to you. It's kind of like, in the world of social media, which I'm not huge on social media, like I have a Blue Sky. I have some fun ideas for what to do on Instagram and like, I don't know if TikTok's still a thing in a couple of weeks, we'll see. But I've got like, I don't want to just like repost the same content all over the place. I want each channel to sort of be unique, and YouTube is very much going to be a different thing than what the website has for articles, which is going to be different from Blue Sky, which is going to be different. Oh, see, this is what I'm saying. Foil, oh my God. 8 out of 9, that's Taln. Of course it's Taln. That is one of like, I cannot stress, I'm going to take a minute here. I cannot stress how you would be at a table and picture like this big convention hall, big open hangar essentially. If you've ever been to like a Comic-Con or like a PAX, you just got this big empty place, bunch of lunch tables, everybody sitting around with piles of cards, gigantic things of like pack trash. People would come by and they'd be like, all right, who's trading? Everybody would look up because everybody was trading. Looking for Heralds 7 and 8 and 9. No, of course not. Move on. Not only to get one, but to get a foil one. This is what I'm talking about. Like, just because you don't see it in the last pack doesn't mean it's not there. Wow, that was exciting. I don't even remember what I was talking about before. I think I was talking about content and channels. I've got different ideas of what to do, but getting back to like the original thing, to subscribe to Invested in the Cosmere today is free. There's no paid aspect to it. I do these things as like a creative outlet. I like making this type of content. I love talking about things I'm super passionate about. I used to have a couple of different podcasts around League of Legends. I phased out of that when I had my daughter 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago now. But I just like making content, and I use a platform that has a free newsletter. There's also an option for premium newsletters in the future. I think some of my Cosmere RPG stuff in the future will have a premium aspect of it, where it's like you can get the, free version of the map or whatever for free, but there'll be a high quality version or a gridless version, maybe something more in depth behind. I don't know about a paywall. I feel like I really have to have content worth it for it to be a paywall. But, something behind at least a free subscription. I have one of those now. I have a map that I did of, it's a battle map for a marketplace in the war camps. There is a gridless high quality version for free on, if you subscribe, it's free. The subscription's free. The map is free. You can download it. And if you're using like virtual tabletop, which is a topic I'm going to cover later in the channel, if you're using a virtual tabletop software, the gridless versions are just nicer. And the higher quality, the better, obviously. There's 2 packs here where I didn't get any nonsense cards. It was just foil cards, which is pretty cool. I'm really like, one of the things, if I had infinite time and resources, I'd love to try to collect and figure out how many nonsense cards there are. Again, like, let me try to actually look at it. A brief diversion, if you'll accept that. Accept those words. I just want to see if I have 2 copies. Okay, I have 2 copies of nonsense cards here. You can see it's the same set. It's the same number. But is there a difference between the 2? I'll have to dive in deep. And maybe I'll post on it on the website to show the difference. But it's hard to tell because it can literally be a word. And like, some of the nonsense cards are completely like similar, but 1 or 2 words have been changed out. Others are literal nonsense. It has nothing to do with the story. It's a random interchange. It totally depends. So it's pretty cool. I'll have to see what I've got this time. I have to go back and look at my original collection of nonsense cards and see where this all matches up. Nice, more foils. I feel like I've been in a patch so far of lots and lots of foil, back-to-back foils, and not as many nonsense. Depending on what you like to collect, there's just so much to chase after here. I don't know if every card has a foil version, but a lot of them do. You can collect foils. I think of an all foil art, like a 1 through 9 or something like that, to get the mural. That would look really cool. I just looked at how many packs I have left, and I'm like, man, am I going to get all the heralds? I got a late herald, and that's all I really, like, I feel, well, it's not worth $100. This box is $100. It's not worth $100 to get 1 foil herald that I didn't have before. But I think if I start doing that math, this whole thing starts to unravel very fast. So I'm doing it for the love of Sanderson, the love of Dragonsteel, the love of Cosmere. Hey, I love you guys too. Stick around, subscribe, do all that stuff. Okay, it's a late Lopen card. Ooh, more nonsense. Nonsense pile's getting big. Not too big, but it's out there. Anybody who's well invested in the Cosmere, and particularly Sanderson's like YouTube-based content and a lot of the stuff he does for streams, knows that he is super into like Magic the Gathering in particular and other kinds of trading card games. I think there was a question at Nexus where he went over like his previous dealings with Wizards of the Coast and like the potential of a Magic the Gathering set with Wizards. He did confirm. Oh, there we are. Oh, that's 9 out of 9. That's 9 out of 9. Herald. It's not all the heralds. I've got, let's see. Let's take a minute here again for a herald. Take a moment for a herald. I was missing 6 through 9. I now have 6, 8, and 9. Oh, I just need 7. I just need 7 and my whole collection is complete. Oh, this just got real. This just got real. And that wasn't even the last card. That's interesting. Are there nonsense heralds? I don't even want to... I mean, there are nonsense heralds in the canon sense. Heralds of nonsense. But, man, I got very distracted by the excitement of pulling a herald. That's very exciting. What was I talking about? Oh, Magic the Gathering. Sanderson talked about it at Nexus. I think somebody asked him a question. And basically what he said, he confirmed that he's like talked to Wizards of the Coast, the company that makes Magic the Gathering, for those who aren't in the know. And he's like on the list of intellectual properties that have expressed interest and are sort of like, I won't call it in queue. He kind of phrased it that way. You could maybe take it that he suggested that he's like waiting for his chance or whatever. But who knows how the gears turn over at Wizards and what they're prioritizing. Obviously, things like Lord of the Rings have huge appeal, and so those are going to get prioritized. But he basically suggested that what he doesn't want is some small offset. He wants an entire set, which if you're not familiar with Magic the Gathering, like they have a set of cards. It'll be a full series, like a full series of multiple play styles and multiple decks and different types of combinations of cards in the set. I'm sure there's a number that they throw at it. But it would be like a full release of a set of cards instead of a small supplemental edition. And so that obviously would take a lot more time to develop and build out. It interrupts sort of the competitive cycle of Magic the Gathering. So I think he's willing to wait for something. But I'll see him help my wallet when that time comes, because I'm going to have all of them. I'm going to have a full play set. I love Magic the Gathering, so like just having that and playing that will be great, but I will have a full play set collection. Another Holo, Herald, number 1. Great. I have from Nexus, I pulled Herald number 3. You'll notice, keen viewers will notice that I'm not pronouncing the names of Heralds, unless it's Talon, because I love Talon, and Talon's my favorite. I am almost certainly a Stoneward. But that's because, like, well, first of all, I'm an audiobook listener. But second of all, like, I probably get it wrong. And I'd rather not try. Like, Like, I'm pretty sure that's Jezrien. Does it say who they are? That would be embarrassing. But I probably get it wrong if I'm honest. And I just don't want that embarrassment. You don't have to be like a level 9,000 lore expert to make a channel about the Cosmere. You just have to love it. And that's what I do. I love it. More nonsense, more foils. We're getting close to the end, and things are actually balancing out. Like, you can't tell from this perspective. Chasm Friends is definitely the lowest. You can tell that. But we're getting close to the end, and we're seeing what the distribution is. And I'm going to be very excited to see how this all pans out, what kind of duplicates I get, and show all of that. Because this is pretty cool. Oh boy. That pack was eager for it. It wanted to get out here. This has got Herald number 7 in it right here. Stunned silence. That's Herald number 5. Oh man, I would have lost it. If that was actually number 7, I probably just would have like uploaded the rest in silence. Because I would have been too shook and too stunned to comprehend how serendipitous the pack jumping out of itself to deliver me. Man, how many do we got left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a long video. Thanks for sticking with it. I'm getting this sinking feeling now that I'm going to be 1 Herald short, And if you have a spare 7 or you just want to end my pain, let's talk. Let's trade. What do you want? You want like 6 copies of Herald #1? I'll make that trade. I'll make that deal. Maybe I can hand you an entire story. Maybe that's the deal we'll make. Or subscribe. Well, you're giving me a thing and subscribing. That's heavy-handed. All right. Maybe I should open up all the packs and just stack them up. We grow quiet as we anxiously await our fate here. I've got some really cool ideas for content coming up. I won't talk about them here because I have this tendency where as soon as I start talking about a creative endeavor I'm working on, I get the same satisfaction as creating the endeavor itself. So I lose all my motivation, so I won't do that. In fact, I had to go into right opening these packs after I said I'd do it in the intro video because I probably would have sat on it or just opened up the packs without any of this fanfare. I got really confused because the card was upside down. I haven't noticed if others were like that, but that one was. Man, let me tell you, if I got this many packs and I could trade around that many Heralds, actually I don't know about that because it was very difficult to find. Like I saw 1/7. A dude on my plane, shout out to this guy, had the entire collection. I'm pretty sure he was a volunteer. And so he just I don't know why that would have made a difference, but he maybe got access to all of his packs earlier than others. We're down to the last 2 packs. But he had an entire collection, start to finish. Heralds included. And the really cool thing, all right, it all comes down to this. The really cool thing was he went around and the artists who worked on these cards, he had them sign it if they were there. Their cards, and like specific ones, obviously not every card they designed. But that's such a cool idea. I've seen people do that with Lorcana, like going to Disney and getting the characters to sign their really cool Lorcana cards. And I know Sanderson has some like doodled versions of Magic the Gathering cards he loves. This is it. The final story deck, Stormlight Lost Tales pack in a box of 36. Will it contain my missing Herald? I don't think that's it. I'm just going to say that now. I don't think the position's right. Yeah. Again, the one we have so many of, number 4. Well, that's it. That is 36 packs of Stormlight Lost Tales story deck, the initial series. It's suggested that there are going to be more story decks in the future. I would love it if he did one per Nexus. That would be so cool. Just like releasing, I messed up my packs here. Releasing different story decks for the book that's coming out at the time or different series. I'd love to see something in the Mistborn style, but that's it. I would pick up all the wrappings and stuff, but it's all over the floor at this point. I'm going to have to clean all of that up. But you get a metric ton of cards. There is the Yasna set. They're going to fall. Okay, well, go to investedinthecosmere.com to get the full breakdown and distribution of cards and numbers. I will have all the details of how many of each individual card I got, how many completed stories I got. You've seen pretty much the Herald distribution, the nonsense distribution. Again, your mileage will vary. maybe you'll get more heralds, maybe you'll get less, maybe your distribution of cards will be different. It is random, so don't go into this thinking, hey, I'm going to buy one box and that's going to get me everything I need. This proves it might not. It might. You could get lucky. I might have a full series of stories in here. I won't know until I open it up. But for now, that's it. Please subscribe. Comment if you're checking out Story Deck, what your experience has been so far, especially if you haven't been to Nexus and you're thinking about getting into this for the first time. Let me know. This has been Invested in Cosmere. Go check me out, investinthecosmere.com. 2 weeks, get there. Bye.